Hello everyone. So, Star Wars is big, and as such it has plenty of unresolved mysteries and plotlines. The origins of the Mortis family for one, Yoda's homeworld, Palpatine's return. There are plenty to cover, but today I want to focus on one mystery that's rarely covered within the Star Wars community, which is unfortunate because there are plenty of things to speculate about on it. And it's from a video game that came out almost 15 years ago, which is part of the reason why it's so unknown to most of the Star Wars audience, but since you're watching this, might as well stick around. The Carbonite Sith Army. Alright, let's start off with some context first. In the game Forces of Corruption, an expansion to Star Wars Empire at War, you play as the Zon Consortium, led by Tiber Zahn and Uri Fen. In the game, the initial objective was to steal a hidden Sith holocron from Jabba the Hutt. Fen approximated the age of the object to be around 4,000 years old, suggesting its origins is from around the time of the Great Sith War. And for those who don't know, the Great Sith War is set roughly in the time period of the Knights of the Old Republic games, and a bit before that as well. In order to gain deeper insight into the device, they sought the assistance of a Force-sensitive individual and approached Nightsister Suri.
You will open the door now.
Uri, if she tries that mind control trick again, shoot her. Silri, I assume. We're not nearly the weak-minded fools you take us for, though I am willing to open this door on my terms.
Do not taunt me! When I'm free of this cell, you'll be the second one I kill, no matter the cost!
Now. You'll get out, as long as you give me a reason to release you. Do you know what this is?
A Sith creation. If it is real, it must be very ancient. Where did you get it?
Where or whom I got it from doesn't matter. Can you access the information stored inside?
I could, given time, but I would demand more than just my freedom in payment.
Name your price.
Initially, they also wanted to get the help of perhaps Darth Vader, but obviously that wouldn't be feasible. Initially, Suri's efforts yielded only ancient celestial maps.
I have translated the characters on the artifact as you asked.
Have you? Please, enlighten me.
It appears to be an ancient star map, including hyperspace travel vectors. Unfortunately, the artifact only lists territories already mapped centuries ago.
Seems every Sith artifact in existence is some sort of ancient star map, doesn't it, Uri? Worthless. Perhaps I can find a gullible buyer with deep pockets.
I wish to study it further. I found the artifact holds little in the way of useful information, but it could be useful for translating other Sith texts.
We may know it's useless, but I intend to find a buyer that doesn't.
Its information might yet yield great power!
I will contact you should I decide to make further use of it.
So be it.
She looked as though she was ready to kill you.
Think nothing of it, Uri. Dathomir witches always look as if they're ready to kill. Keep an eye on her. This artifact is the only leverage I have over her, and I want her kept on a short leash.
This outcome displeased Zahn, leading him to instruct Bossk to return the holocron to Thrawn, which left Suri in a state of fury.
While you sit on your throne looking smug, Bossk has taken the artifact and sold it to the Empire. And you think a Dark Lord like Vader or the Emperor won't know how to use its power?
Are you naive enough to think I just let things happen that aren't according to my carefully laid plans? You've told me the artifact is useless. I shouldn't be concerned, should I? It's almost as if there was something about the artifact that you held back from me. If I have now lost something to them of real value through some lack of disclosure on your part, why, I might take such a thing quite badly.
Well, there might have been more.
Shocking. Tell me.
I can't be sure. I believe that there may have been another key that was required. A data lock such as that would be used only to hide something of great importance. I thought it might be a lost force technique, known only to the ancient Sith, but it would only be useful to me and my kind.
But you can't be sure, correct?
I did not have time to find the answers. I did not think you would give it away so carelessly.
Silri, I want you to listen to me very carefully. If you ever lie to me again, or hide information from me, you and every Dalthameri witch will die the day after you betray me. And I'll kill every one of those damned rancors as well. Those orders already stand, and will be carried out whether I'm alive or not. Do you understand me?
I've heard enough!
These are actions that you will set in motion. Lie to me, betray me, withhold information from me again, and all of these things will come to pass. Am I as clear as I can possibly be?
I understand.
Splendid. Now then, Uri, you can begin tracking the locator beacon we placed on the artifact.
What?
Did you really think I didn't know what would happen? I let Bosk steal it. I'm quite willing to sacrifice 1,000,000 credits when it will lead me to the Emperor's personal archives aboard the Eclipse.
When the Consortium commanders arrived on Coruscant to acquire the codes for the Emperor's Vault, Silri and her loyal Rancor companion Cuddles successfully retrieved the artifact.
There it is. Once I have all of its secrets, I will kill both of those fools who think to order me around. Tiberzon is a fool if he thinks I will leave the artifact in the Emperor's hands. It will be mine.
Once Zon gained the access to the vault, Silri took the opportunity to personally examine the device, and utilized it to locate the Carbonite Sith army. After beating the game, we get a cutscene summing everything up. But the perspective then switches to Silri, where she opens the star map, using the holocron. In the next shot we see her landing on an unknown planet, activating a door where a massive chamber is revealed, lighting up rows and rows of Darth Revan-era Sith troopers. And at the end of the scene we see a illuminated statue at the very end, presumably of a Sith Lord.
A Sith Lord?
And then the credits roll. So then, why didn't we get a story follow-up to explain what happened, and continue the story? Well, initially Petroglyph did want to continue, and they were working on a second expansion. However, LucasArts did not greenlight the project, so nothing really came of it. This all happened during a period where LucasArts wasn't really greenlighting a lot of projects. It's the same reason why we didn't get a Battlefront 3, and also the same reason why we didn't get a Second Republic Commando game. And also the reason why we didn't get another expansion for Empire at War, sadly. Alright, so what do we know about these Sith? Well, as previously stated, we do know that the Carbonite troopers are Revan-era Sith troopers judging by the helmet molds. Another thing we know is that, even though it's not visible in this FMV cutscene, is that there is some sort of Sith Lord who is also in Carbonite back there. This we can only see by data mining the game files. And how does the Sith Lord look like, you may ask? Well...
What is that? What the f*** is that?
Yeah, there's not much to go off of. The reason I'm speculating that this is some sort of Sith Lord is because of the lightsaber on the top of an urn that comes with him. What's inside the urn, we, well, don't know, and let's be honest, probably nothing of plot relevance. But at the very least we can assume that whoever this is some sort of Dark Force user. Naturally, what this all could have led to leaves a lot of room for speculation, so here is the role I think this hidden Sith army could have played. First off, the Sith army would have definitely been a playable fourth faction added to the game. Seeing how Forces of Corruption added the Zon Consortium, it would only be natural for the follow-up expansion to do the same. It would also make for an interesting scenario, like imagine the newly emerged Sith army going up against the Imperial Remnant to demonstrate their view and ideal of true Sith rule. All the while the rebellion is trying to rebuild the Republic, and Silri, who would have probably aligned with the Sith at this point, would use the new force to settle her grievance with Tiberzon. This would make for an interesting free-for-all, let's be honest. The sequel trilogy could have went this route too, and to some extent they did, by the very end of the last movie. but the way it was handled made it seem very lazy. Like, aesthetically, Palpatine's Sith army looks like a carbon copy of the First Order, which in itself looks like a carbon copy of the Galactic Empire. Now, the next obvious question is, where would all this fit into the canon, if, say, a follow-up expansion does get released? The base game itself played very loosely with the canon in a lot of aspects itself, and Force of Corruption, while interesting, jumped over a lot of Legends material just to tell its story. And my answer to all this is pretty simple. It doesn't have to be canon, nor does it have to fit into the story of the Legends material. The expansion could have easily been its own what-if scenario, kind of like the cancelled Battlefront 3 and 4 were meant to be. It leaves a lot more room for creativity for the writers too. The second point of speculation centers around the mystery Sith and Carbonite. For certain, we can rule out Malik, Brandon, Zion, Nihilus, and Traya, as those characters die in the Old Republic games no matter what. So, who is he then? Well, I'd say that they would have probably introduced a new Sith Lord. I mean, there is no reason not to. There were plenty of dark side force wielders during that era, so it's only natural that either Revan or Malik or someone else from the Sith Triumvirate would encase a backup Sith army as a contingency plan that never was executed. Besides, Petroglyph were no strangers to introducing their own characters to play a role in their games, hence why I think it would have been the case here as well. I'll end this video on a positive note. Petroglyph does have a lot of love and passion for the community. We still get frequent patches to the game and updates to improve its quality as much as possible, and we do know that to some extent they are trying to get another game out. While Empire at War 2 is more than possible, I doubt it will follow up on the original story, which is a shame because Force of Corruption had a very unique story. I personally think it was up there with the first Knights of the Old Republic game and Jedi Academy. When Petroglyph did their own story without being tied back to what they could tell, the results spoke for themselves. Compared to the Imperial or Rebel campaign in the base game, the Zon Consortium story was the most interesting. I'd love to know what you all think about this. If another Empire at War game is to come out, would you like it to continue the original story, or would you want it to be set in the sequel trilogy? Thank you all for watching, and until next time, everyone.